So every time you invest an hour in planning, it actually helps you execute much better. And in business, because it is that vehicle or that client that could write you that $1 million check, it's really important that you actually are intentional about planning the success of your business. Would you all agree with that? Right, that's why we're here. So here are some planning pitfalls just to kind of help you understand where you might fall, and I'm gonna have a solution about that. So 3 planning pitfalls that I find is that some people are just over planners. Extremely ambitious, very visionary, everything they think about, they wanna apply to their plan immediately. How many of you guys fall into that boat? That's me. My hand is really, really high. I love implementing amazing ideas, whether or not I have the money for it. That's the problem, right? We also have wild guessers, right? These are people that, you know what, this is not my strength. You know what, 100% growth next year sounds pretty good to me, right? You can raise your hand. So he raised his hand. Who else is like that? I'm also like that sometimes too, right? The problem with wild guessers is if it's not measured by anything, it cannot be mastered at all. You can't master what you don't measure. And so if you wildly guess a result that you want, how are you basing that goal off of? What are you basing it off of? Have you done it before? Right? Let's say you're at $100 million a year in revenue. 100% growth means you're at what? 200 million. That could actually bankrupt a company if you grow that big that fast. Do you have the capital for it? So wild guessing, although it sounds really nice, we want to avoid that. We want to be a little more tactical with our planning. And then lastly is we have predictable control freaks. These are people that actually want to win and be successful, but they hate and they're afraid of losing so badly that they just grow just enough so they can say, I did it, I grew, but I didn't lose anything, right? I always say, and Brad Sugars always says, you have to be scared and excited at the same time. Your goals have to excite you, but they also have to scare the crap out of you, right? That's how you know you're in a decent place to start. Because if you're not scared, you're not pushing yourself. If you're not excited, you're not thinking or you're not dreaming big enough, okay? This is our solution. Just have a clear approach, clear outcome, right? Let's get clear with what you actually want to accomplish by the end of next quarter, whether it be revenue, profit, sales increase, size of team, an additional person. Let's just at least get clear with an outcome. Today's about roughing it. Okay, we're not trying to get anything perfect today. Today's the workshop. It helps guide you on what to do. I want to encourage everybody to resist the urge of getting it perfect today. And here, let me give you a little bit of a hint here. You're gonna get a perfect plan for next quarter, and guess what's gonna happen? Stuff. And guess what you most likely have to do? Stuff to change your plan, okay? The plan is just a roadmap. As you're on that path, you might have to change it just a little bit. It's like a boat, right? A boat knows the location it's gonna go to, but because of rough seas or air, it might have to course correct little by little, but it knows exactly where it's gonna go. And that's really what your plan's all about. It's for you to be able to know exactly where you should end up. I want you to look forward a little bit now. So we looked back in quarter 3, we talked about the wins that we had, the lessons we learned. With that knowledge, I want you to look forward to the end of December and say, what results will I be proud of at the end of that quarter? What are some proud outcomes? What are some outcomes I'll be proud of accomplishing by the end of quarter 4? And make sure that they're measurable, right? You can't just be like, I'd be proud if I could grow wings and fly. That's not measurable, right? What are some measurable outcomes you would be proud to accomplish in quarter 4? Cool, so what I did right there is I basically helped set you up for the mindset around planning. Now, this wasn't the planning part, but it definitely is an important part. In order for us to look forward and plan, we do have to understand what worked and what didn't work. It's kind of like when you're driving, you have that big windshield in front of you, and if you pay attention to the destination, you're not gonna veer off to the left or the right, right? How many motorcycle drivers are in here? Anybody drive a motorcycle? What tends to happen when you're driving a motorcycle and you just look a little to the left or look a little to the right? You just do this, right? But if you focus on the end point, you're gonna get there. Now, like in a car, if you have the rear view mirror, sometimes you have to look back at what's behind you, some of the lessons you learned, how far you went. One of my favorite things to do is when I'm driving through Utah. Anybody drove through Utah when you're in the Big Old Canyon, there's mountains all around you? And when it's like you're driving and you don't even think that you're getting anywhere because it's just road and that big mountain in front of you that doesn't look like it's getting bigger. But then when you look in the back mirror, you're like, oh, that destination I was just at is way back there. So you know that you actually gained mileage, right? Like you actually got somewhere. That's like business. When you're planning ahead, sometimes you got to look back and say what worked, what didn't work, so I can protect the future plan of the business and actually do everything I can to implement what can work for my business. That's why we did what we did. So hold on to that, because after lunch, when we do our 90-day plan, some of those things that that you have on your workbook are gonna go right strategically into a 90-day plan that I'm gonna give you right after lunch. Okay? So I want us to take a little break, and at your tables, I want you to discuss amongst your peers your greatest lesson. Again, like what we just talked about, I want you to have that dialogue, to open up about it. What was the lesson that you learned? And because of that, what will you accomplish in Q4 to make sure that your business moves the needle of success forward, whatever that is to you? Implementing a follow-up process after the job is done to kind of say, hey, how do we do, right? Some of us, or some of you, are you guys too scared to do that sometimes, maybe? Just the unknown, the insecurity around that. But you know what? How much good feedback can you get if you truly hear the heart of your client and their experience? What could you tweak? What could you make better? What could you keep and implement that you didn't even know that you do naturally, right? I think that's amazing. On top of that, what else could you ask them after you follow up? Do you want to do more work with me? Do you know anybody else that might need what you got from me? And can I have a 5-star review? Those are 3 amazing questions and 3 amazing things you can get from a follow-up process. So that's powerful, table. Wendy and Ryan, that's awesome. Who here is gonna implement a follow-up process now that they heard that twice? Let me go back to one of the scariest things about being an entrepreneur. And I wanna say scary, but it's concerning, right? That burnout is the #1 cause of failure in American business, actually in global business alone, okay? And there's plenty of reasons to that. And sometimes we think of the logical things. Oh, we don't have capital, or we don't have leads coming in, I'm not converting, I'm not this, I'm not that. But the real reason why burnout happens is because most entrepreneurs get into the toxic thinking of, I have to do everything on my own. Raise your hand if you've ever felt that, or if that's how you're running your business right now. Right? Have you ever heard the term, or the saying, if I want things done right, I have to what? Do it myself. Okay? Congratulations, entrepreneur, you just bought yourself a job for the rest of your life, if you think that way, right? Even if you're the manager, you cannot manage and get results if you are the one correcting and doing it all yourself. You still have to empower your team or somebody or something to do what you're not good at to get the result. But burnout is the #1 cause of business failure. Let me give you the statistics that Forbes gives. About 70% of businesses will fail in their first 5 years. How many of you have been in business more than 5 years? Raise your hand. Great. Now, here's the other part. The next 5 years, half of the ones who survived the first 5 will no longer be around. And again, it goes back to burnout, right? So one of the things that we know we have to do is we have to scale our business. What does that mean? We have to systemize, we have to hire people, we have to do all those basic functions. But if you're doing everything on your own right now, that could feel very scary, very stressful, and very daunting, correct? Because if you're already burnt out at your max capacity, scaling is gonna require you to really be strategic about how you master, not manage, master your time. Technology today really does an amazing job at allowing us to no longer have to be the person that's the expert, right? There's so much stuff out there that actually helps increase your capacity without burning out, if you do it the right way, all right? Now, let's get back, let's really understand why we're doing this, because at the end of the day, you're entrepreneurs or you're upper management of a crazy entrepreneur trying to build this, a commercial, profitable enterprise that could one day work without you, okay? Most of us have the commercial part down. We have a business. We're trading a service or a skill, or we're trading a product for money, correct? Entrepreneurs, tell me if you're doing something different. Managers, you're just making sure that happens, right? We're making sure we're getting that check. The second part is profitable. As an owner of a business, as a manager, our job is not just to bring in money, but to help the business keep money. Why is that important? Well, we have to reinvest money into our business if we want to grow, #1. We have to pay ourselves Well, that's probably number one. We got to pay ourselves. Number two, we have to reinvest. Number three, there's this tax man that comes around once a year that asks for money, right? And if we don't have the money in the account, we can't pay the tax man. And that's another form of burnout, by the way, is dealing with the IRS, all right? But the last part is that can work without you. Now, that's where most business owners fail. That's where most managers get it wrong. It's not about us being the best and doing everything ourselves. It's about us understanding what we're trying to accomplish, finding the right things and people in place to get it done better than us, right? And that's how we build a successful business, a commercial, profitable enterprise that can work without you. Now, I'm gonna go over this really quick. Normally, I go into so much detail about this, but for the sake of the AI talk, I'm just gonna glance over this, but help you understand why we're trying to accomplish what we're doing. This is the 6 steps to build a successful business. Number one is a foundation. It's about mastering the fundamentals of business. Here's the 4 things. If you wanna write it down quick, I'm gonna give it to you. Number one, your vision. You gotta master that vision. You have to know where you're going. Number 2 is your time. You have to master your time, okay? The cool thing about time is it's unbiased. It doesn't care how rich or poor you are. It doesn't care what gender. It doesn't care how you grew up or not. You have all the same amount of time. And as an entrepreneur, we have to master that. Number 3, money. You have to master your money. And 4, delivery.